It's a pleasure to welcome you to another edition of the Political Rumbles here in News Inquest TV. I remain the host anchor Chigozie Ndibo. In today's highlight, we shall be deliberating on very important and sensitive issues or topical issues. Of course, making rounds at the national dailies. The first today's discussion centers on the spite of insecurity rocking the entire length and breadth of this country, of which a sitting governor came up to make a very sensitive and worrisome statement within this weekend. He is no other person than the Zamfara state governor who came up, of course, to give directives or instruction to the entire indigenous people residents within Zamfara state to prepare and brace off for eventualities by ensuring that they procure armories or ammunitions for their self-defense. Of course, seeing that it is no longer a child's play, that the activities, of course, of the bandits and the terrorists, militias have disrupted the economic and social life of the Zamfara residents or indigenous. And of course, to this effect, he, in a bid, of course, to forestall further attacks on the locals, he has enjoined, of course, the people to brace up to procure ammunitions, guns for their defense. Could it be a justice delayed? Could it be, of course, considered to be timely or coming too late after several hundreds of tens of thousands of the Zamfara people has lost their life to these incessant attacks on daily basis, on daily occurrence. And the government, of course, I believe perhaps may have tried all he could to ensure, even by way of negotiating, of course, with the bandits in order to see how to pacify them and restore peace and tranquility within this region. But it appears that all these efforts seems to be a futile effort indeed, and which possibly has informed his current position that we can no longer watch our people killed and, of course, butchered at will, and their communal life disrupted, their social life be disrupted, and now is the famine season, and they wouldn't want to take chances or jeopardize the entire population of Zamfara state at the mercy of sycophants, at the mercy of the banditry. They will do all they can, according to him, to protect the farmers as they return to farm, as they go about their legitimate and lawful duties and engagement. Well, could you see this as a welcome development? I may want to hear your own perspective in this respect. Through the comment section, let us know what is your view and what, of course, is your own prompts or in favor or against this particular very emotional statement coming from the first office of the citizen in Zamfara state, directing everyone to procure, of course, and initiate the process of procuring ammunitions for the defense of their families and, of course, of their own safety, which I believe is acting within international laws, the right to self-defense is an inalienable right, inalienable in the sense that it cannot be transferred, of course, or jeopardized at the altar of psychophancy. Well, but in this region, we, of course, entrusted the safety of life and property of the supposed citizens to the government. But of course, the current realities, of course, have proven beyond reasonable doubt that the government itself has failed woefully in this primary essence of governance, and the life of the citizenry are, of course, in great jeopardy, and could no longer, of course, trust the government of the day to protect life and property of the supposed citizens. By implication, the Nigerian, of course, sovereignty has been compromised if your supposed citizens could be killed within your territory at wills, most of the citizens are still in captivity under the captive of the supposed bandits and other Islamic terrorists, and yet it appears that the government is very helpless, or perhaps their body language suggests otherwise. Of course, we need an explanation to why the government could not live up to expectation. With all the security draft, with all the security votes available at their disposal, how could they, of course, substantiate and justify this monumental failure on the part of those within, of course, saddled with the responsibility of protecting life and property? I would want to, at this time, know what is your own view, or could it be said to be a welcome development? And if that, of course, is welcomed in Zamfara states, and I believe that other governors should perhaps, of course, take the same line in a way of ensuring that equity is evenly distributed. I think security is not just the business of a particular people. It's all cut across the length and breadth of this country. Of course, it is very clear and glaring that humanity is endangered within the Nigerian space. Very unfortunate, and we cannot afford to keep silent at this time. We should, of course, enact that principle of self-defense in order to preserve life, and of course, ensure that our cultural heritage is being preserved. Yes, across the west, south, east, and of course, north, these killings are even underreported, but I think the move on the part of the governor of Zamfara state could be considered a very bold one, and the way forward. It's because if the locals are being armed and equipped to defend themselves, I think the invaders will have to rethink and have to, of course, stay back rather than leaving the entire region and the masses or the locals so vulnerable and defenseless. Well, this is a very welcomed event, and in the history of Nigeria today, that a sitting governor calling for the indigents or the residents of his own state to brace up to the occasion if they must, of course, resist the attempt of exterminating them, they must rise up, procure arms, and defend themselves. So he has already surrendered the defense of the people in the hands of the people. Now, the government, of course, the governor of Zamfara State should not be blamed. Henceforth, should anything happens to the indigents or residents of Zamfara State, he has thrown the courts open, and the ball is there for us to strike. What is your own view? If this is the first time you are watching News Inquest TV in in this edition of the Political Rumbles. I would want you to follow the link beneath and, of course, subscribe to our channel while you continue to watch the most exciting and analytical uh, analysis of the political happenings within the Nigerian space. We will continue to bring your way, of course, and we follow up the development with respect to this statement coming from Zamfara State and, of course, other ones. The second one we have to discuss is that the Alhaji Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who, of course, is facing a very serious or probably challenging certificate saga, is telling the whole world that he's still searching for, of course, his running mates across the northern region and probably, possibly, the governors of the northern extraction could help him in the search, or probably I could also be contacted for such contract. I think I'm very available. I'm readily available to do the job. Should we strike, of course, a contractual bid? You also can do the business. You can also make yourself available so that you can do the good job of finding the running mates to the Jagaban of Lagos, who claims that it is his time, of course, to become the president of Nigeria. Anyway, should Nigerians, of course, relinquish or surrender their electoral mandates to him? Well, I wish him all the best as he continue in the search of his running mate. But keep in touch. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and turn on the notification button as we continue to give you updates and in events as they continue to unfold. Remain blessed and have a fantastic week ahead.